So we were given this match on free television, and all of them have a shared history together. Malakai and the House of Black with defending the Trios title against the Elite, who they had just recently beaten at AEW Revolution in a hellacious matchup, and the Jericho Appreciation Society, who have history with the Elite. And Malakai Black's history is that he beat up the Elite and he dealt with Chris Jericho back in WWE days. Mostly by association. I don't think they ever had a match. I could be wrong though. But yeah, this took place in Canada. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. As one of my buddies on the ATW group chat would say. Our home and native land, we stand on God for thee. In Winnipeg, more specifically, so Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho were the high favorites to get the cheers because they're just that. And this was be set for the Trios Championship, and I was like, oh god, oh boy, I can't wait! Triple threat Trios action! Oh man, I am so pumped for this matchup. The Elite, the House of Black, the Jericho Appreciation Society, and it's with Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia, two phenomenally talented wrestlers, so that helps protect Jericho and doesn't make you go crazy every time when Jake Hager has to bring up his stupid hat. Why is that a thing now? And how come MJF's scarf hasn't been signed to AEW yet? But enough about that. The Trios match to end all Trios matches until the next Trios match. And man, I was looking forward to this mostly because I was like, okay, they gotta have this be triple threat rules because there's just way too much chaos involvement if you go with the strange multi-man yet only two members that have one team at a time. Two teams going at it, whereas the third one's just kind of there, and you're just like, why don't they just never tag them in? And instead, everyone has to be an idiot for some reason. Nope, they went with that, and I was like, oh god, different promotion, same stupid nonsense of tag team rulings. Like, I don't get this. Like, the games allow us to do that. Like, a lot of the wrestling games allow us to do that. Have one of each team member go in there and compete. Why can't they do it here? Especially since the referee's definitely going to get lost in this. Like, I probably would get lost in it and I'd be screwed afterwards, chewed out by somebody backstage. But, okay, so despite that huge deterrence that we had gotten, I was like, okay, we're still going to get a good match. There's a lot of great talent involved in this. We got the Elite, we got the House of Black, we got the Jericho Appreciation Society. There's no way they could screw this match up in terms of its quality, right? Good news, the match quality was top-notch, crisp, and and heading into this episode of Dynamite, I was worried they were going to drop them back to the Elite because because in AEW World, hometown advantage actually means something, which I could save for another promotion, and also Will Hobbs defeated Wardlow after Revolution to win the title. To win the TNT title, making Wardlow's victory completely pointless, and you could just left it to Samoa Joe, who drops it to him, but that would have been asking too much. Even though it came out that Wardlow actually had been planned for, that it was planned for months, that Powerhouse Hobbs was going to win the TNT title, which is kind of the same thing as saying this was planned for months, but we kind of keep topsy-turvying with the belt, so we make it look like we're cool and edgy. Like a commitment to the whole we planned all this for months in advance, like Action Andrade. I'm just like, but did you really need to hot potato the TNT title? It's been like this ever since Cody got sick. And they just keep bringing in interim titles. And it's been like that ever since the day of Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes' history. So, score evil for COVID and shake your fist in the air if you want. At the sorry state the TNT title's been put into. So, yeah. That happened, so there was a high probability, especially since this is hometown advantage, and AEW has been known to really give the hometown advantage to the hometown advantage, actually meaning something. I definitely was worried that House of Black was going to lose this match. It was probably going to go to the Elite or Jericho Appreciation Society. I was like the Elite have their run, and this was likely always planned at one point that the Elite were going to drop it to the House of Black, and then all that fiasco with Punk happened. Yippee. Let's hope they work that out. The Jericho Appreciation Society, I was like, they just came off of a huge loss for their team for the most part, so I definitely didn't see them winning, though I could imagine the House of Black and Jericho Appreciation Society feuding based on what's been going on the Rampage, and after that match with Brody King and Daniel Garcia, so it's not out of the possibility window. But Sammy Guevara is also going to be targeting MJF, giving us a legendary fatal 4-way match with epic 4-pillar awesomeness. So yeah, there's that conundrum. So that means Jay Hager is probably going to be involved in this, or we're just going to bring back 2.0 for this thing. But yeah, to make a long complicated story immensely short as possible, this was a quality trios 3-way match, even though it wasn't really 3-way, it was more like 2 teams, third wheel. And I was really worried that House of Black was losing this match. I was like, please, out of every team, you cannot have the House of Black lose, Tony. They just won the trios title. We don't need a hot potatoing of that belt either. We have enough damage with that. So, yeah. And seeing Jericho and Kenny Omega get the pop from the crowds of their hometown, of their native land, I was like, that's cool, that's sweet, that's heartwarming to see these two favorite icons go at it again. Though we know Jericho's never going to take the One-Winged Angel, so that's out of the question. Which says a lot. Yeah. Jericho said he will never ever go through that again, so Kenny was never going to win against Jericho in that fight. But yeah, while that was all going on, we randomly out of nowhere during the match cut away from that to showcase the Dark Order and Hangman taking on the Blackpool Combat Club. Oh, by the way, Stu Grayson is back in All Elite Wrestling. He signed once more with them. Hooray! He's back, everybody. He's back! So, awesome moment. I was just like, why are we cutting to them? What is this building up to what I think it's building? Sure enough, it did, but I'll get to that. And the House of Black ultimately retained the trios titles, so there was much rejoicing. And the House of Black defeated the two dominant forces in AEW in one match, so I think that means House of Black is now the third great pillar of faction warfare in AEW, but there are still a lot of hungry challengers waiting for them. At least until CMFTR happens, hopefully, and then everything gets all topsy-turvy, flipped up, turned upside down. But after that, all of a sudden you see the Dark Order and see Hangman and Blackpool Combat Club, who have been going kind of heelish, especially since Brian decided to go home after the loss to MJF, which hurt a lot of people's hearts. So that had happened. So now that happened, and as the Blackpool Combat Club look like they're gonna surround Hangman and beat the living hell out of him, who should step in but the Young Bucks? Okay, we're getting it. The crowd goes even wilder seeing Hangman with the Elite all over again. It's like, oh yeah. And then, because people hike to see the parallels, they notice that the positioning of Hangman and the Elite was very similar to Revolution all those years ago after that legendary tag team match, where Hangman was on one side and the Elite were on the other side. And I was like, it's like poetry, it rhymes. Tony Khan clearly thinks he's George Lucas, and Star Wars is the greatest franchise ever until Disney bought it and made a whole bunch of crapshoots. And then brought back the Rebirth, but we still have a crapshoot to get to eventually in the timeline, so we're doomed either way. So yeah, Hangman and the Elite and they left it on a cliffhanger. Like, I was like, oh, you sons of bitches. I was like, when I saw the ending, I was like, Tony Khan, AEW, you sons of bitches. Because it was like, you have this cliffhanger, and you're not going to even post it on YouTube to give us the resolution of what happened afterwards. Turns out fan films happen, so luckily we got content coming out with that, where Hangman clearly the tension between him and the Elite and their troubled past is still kind of wrecking their friendship, so Hangman just left. Kenny Omega was the most hesitant to go in and help Hangman, since, well, Hangman and Kenny's history is a lot more complicated than the Young Bucks. And there might be an element with the Young Bucks kind of let Hangman beat Kenny and take away the world title, so yeah, there's a possibility that the Blackpool Combat Club might still be able to use psychological warfare against them. I know William Regal would do that. He would be looking at his boys and be like, blimey, I'm proud of y'all. And whatnot. Then probably brass knuckle them with. In fact, now that makes me even sadder just to know that William Regal's back in WWE, because it's like, damn it, we missed the opportunity to see Kenny Omega and Don Callis interact with William Regal and his British blimey fighting. British roughhousing. I was like, oh god damn it, man. We had an opportunity to get William freaking Regal and Don Callis interacting and watching William Regal makes Don Callis piss his pants and crap his pants at the same time with his bloody, intense personality. Blimey. Well, at least he's doing well in WWE for the moment, so props to him. At least there's no hard feelings with AEW and William Regal. Like, he requested it, he had his reasons, and Tony was all perfectly fine for it. Man. But you always gotta have that what if. Anyways, enough about my delirious thoughts on that. Oh man, this is gonna look awesome. What's happening now, since we now know the Elite and Hangman and the saga with him and the Dark Order and Blackpool Combat Club is now going to be the next big storyline for them. Where does the House of Black and Jericho Appreciation Society go? Sammy Guevara is going after MJF along with Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. Awesome. But where does that lead Daniel Garcia, 2.0, Hager, and Jericho at? Are they going to feud with the House of Black over the Trios title for a little bit? Which could be awesome. That could be a good series of matches. And Brody King even fought Daniel Garcia and beat him. So take that for what you will. They're building to a feud for that. The Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. Blackpool Combat Club versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. That was blatant pro wrestling versus sports entertainment style meshing. What I'm thinking the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club are going to do is going to be brawling fighting style technical wrestling versus, as what tribalists on the internet gatekeep about, flippy monkey style wrestling. Or as I like to call it, rubber wrestling, because god damn, I am trying to wonder how their bones are not broken in multiple places yet, unless a surgeon surgically changed their bones to rubber. That would explain Rey Fenix's abilities. No, I'm seriously, that's my headcanon conspiracy. I firmly am on the opinion that some surgeons out there converting wrestlers' high-flying moves bones to rubber so they can do the impossibility of rubber moves. To the point that it's like, god damn it. How are they doing this at this point? How are they bending their bodies like that? How are they high-flying like that? They have to be, their bones have to be made of rubber. Oh god. I will die on that hill. Much like Masako X dies on the hill for Raditz. Though, at the same time, people probably won't take my conspiracy seriously because I still like Bray Wyatt and all the work he's been putting into his massive saga. I mean, I have some critiques about it, but still. I still am in the firm opinion that if everything works out and it all comes together, we'll be talking about this for a while, but we'll have to see where that goes. So maybe they won't take my opinion seriously, and I'm just a guy on the internet just allowed to talk and say whatever I want. Yeah. It's a fun time. And now Kenny Omega is fighting... I tried to get his name right. The wrestler he was supposed to fight in AAA before Kenny, let his injuries control his life. To the point that Tony had to step his foot down and tell him, Kenny, after Hangman, you're going home. You hear me, damn it, you're going home. And I don't care what else you do in terms of you're not wrestling until you are cleared. Damn it. Which Kenny realized he could get away with doing a lot of other stuff that could strain his body that doesn't involve wrestling. Because that bastard is very clever. Like, seriously, I'm pretty sure if Kenny was still wrestling, he probably wouldn't have proposed Molotov cocktails in his video game. I'm still on that opinion of that he was the one that pitched that. And lastly, that's been labeled a dream match because that was a match. It was really hyped up. They were planning to drop the AAA Bell Mega Championship to that guy. I can't pronounce his name for the life of me. I've tried, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it and fail miserably. They tried to have that match. They had hoped to get it ready. Kenny had to go into surgery and all that, and they had to scrap everything and drop the title. So they're doing the match next week on this coming Dynamite. Awesome. Can't wait for that match. Then we got gatekeepers complaining that there's no story, no continuity, nothing. And I was just like, so there's not a possibility they're going to air the promo right on Dynamite? And explain the story there? I mean, like, they've done it before. But enough about my wild thoughts on that. Or the gatekeeping of the whole Tony Khan pays for everyone's travel and hotel staying. Oh no, he's being nice! I should be like you, Mel. WWE doesn't do it, then no one can do it. Comparison is the thief of joy, said Theodore Roosevelt. But enough about the comparison is the thief of joy quote. Quality match, even though the system they do it with still frustrates me to no end. It's still fun. It's still a great trios triple threat match. AEW World Trios Tag Team Division is awesome and it's on a hot start. I really am glad the House of Black is getting this rebirth period for them, and I'm hoping it sticks around for a while. And man, I'm looking forward to what happens next. So, this was your host of Eric Brown of Neo Reality Entertainment. If you feel like, comment, subscribe, check out my content in the description below. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you all again next time. Peace, take care, and keep on wrestling. Peace.